everybody. I'm back for another series on how to use Dubsado as an interior designer. My name is Sasha from Sasha Marine Interiors, and we're going to actually go over how I use Dubsado as a full service interior designer. Now, if you saw my first video, you saw that my workflows were more geared towards virtual interior design, and I've had a lot of designers ask if I actually have workflows for full service. So I do, and I'm going to actually go through that today. So if you see on my screen, this is what your Dubsado dashboard is going to look like when you first start out your trial. You'll have a financial goal here and open invoices here. You'll also have any revenue indicator for rolling 30 days there. And then anything that needs your attention is going to live in this recent section. So if you have any invoices that are missed payments, you'll see right here when I hover over it, it wants to indicate that I can actually click this. So if I have any missed invoices, I can actually click on those and be able to send out reminders. I'll also have here any contracts that I need to physically sign, as well as any workflow actions that need to be approved. I mean, if you want to see any of the latest Dubsado updates, you can actually click that here. And then what you'll see here is the calendar overview. You can either do it as a monthly or weekly. So you'll see here, you have those two options. And then you just have a quick glance of your financials as well as your tasks. So this is what your Dubsado dashboard is going to look like when you first get started on your trial. Now, I'm going to start talking about what my projects actually look like on my end. So I'm going to actually minimize the screen and I'll take you through it. So you see here, what I actually did for my projects is I actually broke it down as leads and as jobs, and you can actually be able to create these funnels through here, which is called Customize. And you'll see that I created different funnels so that I can be able to see just at a quick glance, high level, how many discovery calls I have scheduled, how many proposals I have sent, how many people I'm still waiting for payment, and then I also have broken down for jobs as well. So I have, waiting for questionnaire. The reason why my waiting for questionnaires and jobs is because I actually don't send out that questionnaire until after I've received payment. So that's why you'll see it in the jobs section. And then I have, need to do design work, ongoing design work. That is more over here geared towards my virtual. Then I have my ongoing VDA. So I do offer virtual assistance to other designers. So I have my projects there. Any renovation projects, I will have them funneled here. Any projects that I then start to track in ClickUp, I will have funneled here. And then if there's any contractor projects where it's just more concept design, I would have them funneled here. And then what I like to do is actually create tags as well. So you'll see here I have design service, design assistant, virtual, a general assistant, just because I do also offer, just general assistant work like website building, things like that, as well as contractor and then full service. So that's your project view. And that way you can see that there. Then over here we have our reporting. So we have project sources. Let's say if I click that, you'll see that I have it broken down. I can see that most of my projects actually come through Facebook. I've had 21 projects through Facebook, and then I can kind of break it down based on there. I also have project breakdowns, invoices, transactions, chart of accounts, and reportings, as well as calendar. And let me actually move myself over there. And then utilities. So I use probably the time tracker the most because it ensures that I get paid, right? So whenever I'm working on, let's say, full service or, design assistant work, what I like to do is just, for example, this one designer that I'm assisting, she has multiple clients that I help her with. So instead of tracking it, for each task that I'm doing, I actually just track it by the actual client. And then that way, at the end of the month, I can be able to tell her how many hours I spent working on her particular client, and then that way she could just bill it back to the actual client. And then you'll see here, if I go to Invoiced, what I like to do whenever I am time tracking is I like to put the date if it's a touch base call, and then if it's a retainer, so you'll see here, there's an option where you can actually just bill a time without putting in an amount. So for this one, I actually just billed it against her retainer. And then again, if you needed to go back, they have all of the dates here. And you see I'm very descriptive in terms of what I'm doing, floor plan, space planning. I write what the project name is, how many hours I've spent on that billable project against a retainer, things like that. So I use a time tracker a lot. And then for my scheduler, you'll see that I actually have more than one scheduler. I have a presentation meeting scheduler, a client discovery call scheduler, initial consultation scheduler, as well as just a general touch base. I also have a trade touch base, and then I have a design assistant discovery call. What I really like about the schedulers is, and this is a perfect example for the client discovery call, what I like to do is I actually like to add a questionnaire. So you'll see here where you go to additional forms, you actually have a drop-down menu where you can be able to add, maybe a questionnaire that you would like. So I actually have one, which is my discovery call questionnaire. And just to give you an idea of what that looks like on the client side, let's actually go into my portal. Okay. So on the client side, you'll see that, they have availability for dates. They can go ahead and click that date, click a time that I'm available, and you'll see that they have a form. So now this form is actually my discovery call questionnaire, and that way I could get some preliminary design information before I actually speak with the client. And you'll see that they're not able to actually submit and get onto my calendar until they fill out this questionnaire. So I really like to offer that up front in my scheduler. That way it's not another email that I'm sending, it just goes hand in hand. Now let's go through my forms. You'll see I have lots of forms. So I have a lot of different contracts depending on what services I'm providing. I have like just the consulting agreements, designer on call, full contract eDesign, full service interior design. I do have some initial the terms as well as a letter of agreement. And you'll see I also have some sub-agreements. So I may have, a change of scope LOA. We know we have some clients that, in the middle of the project, they decide that they want to add some additional scope work. And instead of trying to retract the contract, because with Dubsado, you're only able to have one main contract and then you can add sub-agreements. So I do have a change of scope LOA that I have as a sub-agreement, and then that way you can add it to the project and have them sign. I also have even an installation day sub-agreement, so that when we're getting ready for the actual installation day, the client can kind of sign off on like some of their responsibilities, as well as, just other documents. I do also have my questionnaire, so I have my client welcome guide. You see here where it says PDF, you actually have this option where if it's something like a PDF, like your client welcome guide or Dubsado checklists, I offer designers Dubsado setups. So those two documents, I'm never really going to update, right? It's only a one-time form. So I actually create a PDF, and you have this option right over here where you can actually update or upload, a PDF directly into your questionnaire. And then that way you can actually build that into the workflow, which I'll show you shortly. And then I have additional questionnaires. I have discovery call commercial, discovery call questionnaire, lifestyle, full service, general feedback, inspiration photo questionnaires. So this one, I'm actually going to click it just to give you an idea of how I use this one. I had this one client who she had no idea what she wanted. And she just gave me a bunch of words during the discovery call, like comfortable, modern, things like that. And she wasn't a big fan of Pinterest. So what I did was I actually found inspiration photos and I added them into a questionnaire. And you'll see I have option 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I tell her, which options do you like? And then what do you like about those options? That way I get a general sense of what it is she's looking for without telling her to go to Pinterest. So I wanted to show you that form. Okay. I also have my lead intake questionnaire. I don't really use that often, but I have it there for any reason. I also have, this one's more particular in terms of eDesign, so I should probably rewrite that. And then I have my virtual assistant one. Then you'll see I have my proposals. And this one's actually a Dubbin template that I'm working on, so that's not ready yet. But you'll see, here's a perfect example. So here is my information guide that I treat as a proposal through Dubsado for my design clients. So you see it's very, very visual. And then I have a breakdown, if it's eDesign, I have a breakdown of all of my different packages. And then what I do towards the bottom is then I actually have, and these are the package buttons, I'm able to create that, proposal like, so that the client can be able to select how many rooms, if they want to do an add-on, if they wanted to do an add-on like my designer on call or a hybrid, things like that, they're able to do that directly from their proposal. And then that is the same thing as well as for my design assistant proposals. And then if I'm just doing like, let's say a simple package selection where they're just selecting what they want and they don't really need the information guide, I would send them this one. And then I also have other kinds of options as well. So this one I don't think, oh yes, I did. So this one's gonna look more like an invoice, a traditional invoice where they're just paying for the design concept and then they can do additional add-on services. And then this again is that package option. So when you click on it, you see that you're able to select the package and then you can be able to add the select button. And then that way they can be able to just go ahead, select that concept. They're essentially approving the invoice, right? And if they want additional things like 3D rendering, this one was a little different because this is more a template based on like what I was working on. So these numbers would obviously change. Okay. Then I have my lead capture. So you'll see I actually have more than one, right? And the reason why is because what's great about some of these documents is that they're actually public. So for example, I have my general contact form, which is on my website. And then I also have my VA contact form, which is, my design assistant contact form, which is also on my website, but it's on a different page. So I actually have a wait list for this now. But you're able to have more than one contact form. And then when I was running a giveaway, I actually created a lead capture, which you see right here, designer on call contact or giveaway. I actually was able to create this kind of giveaway form that then I shared, and I took this direct link and then I added it to my social media accounts. So this was great to be able to capture all of that information and get a list of people who wanted to sign up for the giveaway. So that's how I kind of treat my forms. And then just to give you an idea of what I mean in terms of two different lead captures on my website, I'm going to actually show you where they live. So I have two areas. Okay, let's let that load. Okay, so for my main contact form, I have that here on my contact page. This is the exact same form that you'll see here for the general contact, right? Those are going to be the exact same forms. Then for my design assistant one, I have that one over here where it's actually built into my page. So when I scroll down, here's that contact form. So they're able to kind of fill it out and go directly to be associated to the proper workflow. Okay, so now let's go to canned emails. So these are canned emails. Dubsado actually gives you a lot of templates that you can work off of. So a lot of this is templates. Some of them I have actually, added. So like I have a contractor bid one, I have some design assistant ones, Dubsado setups, things like that. So it's great that, let's say you delete a template by mistake, what you can do is you can actually find all of those templates here, go in, right, copy this, or tweak it, right, because some of these actually get linked to things. But then you would basically just go ahead and copy it, and then you can add it into your canned email. So nothing's really lost. And then for my signature, this is actually a signature that I just built, that I just made it as an image, and then I actually hyperlink it so that it goes directly to my website once they click that. Okay, so now packages. Packages, I have it broken down with Dubsado setup, design hourly rate, as well as like my hybrid starter package, install day, procurement, 3D rendering, virtual assistant packages, all of my eDesign packages, retainers. This is where if I'm going to be tweaking it so that it's, very, I guess, customizable per project, I will have this as a template, and then I'll go into the actual project and then customize it so that way it's per project. And I can actually show you that really quickly. Let me actually close all these out. Okay, so just to give you an idea, I'll go into one of my clients. Okay, and you see I have all of my emails associated to each project. I always have them mapped here. I actually find it's much easier to just respond directly to any of your emails in Dubsado, so I very rarely even check my own emails. So here is where I have my invoices, and I have them for initial consultation and for design concept. So then I can be able to tweak it so that it's very specific. And then I also have like things that I'm working on that I can do it based on. You'll see here 0, so I can apply it to the retainer. Okay. And then this is where I was talking about in terms of like adding additional forms. You see here, this is that uploaded client welcome guide that was a PDF. So I was able to send that to them directly. Okay. So now let's go into the workflows. I think this is probably the most expensive or the most exciting one. Okay, so you see I have my eDesign process, which hasn't really changed. I'll go through it again in case I did update it. I potentially updated it before. So, okay, so this is for eDesign, which I should probably rename that. Okay. So essentially, when a client reaches out to me and they're looking for virtual design, I have it in my contact form where the moment that they go ahead and I will actually show that to you, the moment that they go ahead and actually click that they want virtual, so you see here, eDesign services automatically links to my virtual workflow. Full service automatically links to my full service interior design workflow. And then the virtual design assistant links to that workflow. The way that you would do that is you would go ahead and click this button right over here. And it's what services are you interested in? You would then go ahead and add those options, and then you would apply which workflow that is. Very, very easy to do. Okay, so now let's go back to my workflows. Okay. Okay. So now my workflow starts immediately when a customer reaches out to me. I have just a general inquiry that says I'll get back to you in 24 to 48 hours, and this will start my workflow. Then I have the next step as a tag. So this will go ahead and tag, essentially flag the project so that I know that it's design service. Then I actually get a to-do sent to me. You see here where it says, review inquiry. So this will actually get sent to my email letting me know, hey, you have a client, go ahead and review that, right? Then once I've reviewed that project and I go ahead and check it off, this discovery call questionnaire goes out. So you see here I did send appointment scheduler. I go ahead and actually pick which scheduler template I want. And remember, my client discovery call scheduler actually has my discovery call questionnaire automatically linked, so I don't even need to add an additional form. Then when this is actually in my workflow, I do have the opportunity to customize this before it actually goes out to the client, but I do find that it's helpful to have some sort of template to work off of. That way you're not having to rewrite it. And this is a canned email. After I've had the discovery call, I then have an approved button that goes out right after this appointment. And you see I have 5 hours. Sometimes I change that. I don't generally have all of my forms go out immediately just because I try to track my hours because I'm working on design clients as well as assisting designers. I try to block hours in my time, or my calendar, I mean, so that I can be able to properly, be efficient. Okay, so then you'll see here I have a send form. I'm telling the workflow action to look for this discovery call questionnaire. So basically, after this appointment has ended, this scheduler right here, that's when this form goes out. but just to give me an opportunity so I could be able to tweak this email, I have an approval button. So then you see here, I have my template to go out, which is actually my information guide that I'm treating as a proposal. And then I'm able to offer that, tweaked email. I do have a canned email, which basically says, review the information guide. This will act as a proposal. If you decide to submit this, then you'll get a lifestyle questionnaire. That way they're able to have an understanding of what my process looks like. Then for this one, the project status changes. So you'll see that it says waiting for payment. Once I have received the invoice payment, my lifestyle questionnaire will automatically go out, and then my portal will get activated. And then after that, my client onboarding portal email goes out. So this is just like a quick email, just letting them know to just, be able to log in and see all their stuff. And then you'll see here I have another change status, which just says I need to do the design work. I then get a tag saying I need to complete the design work. And then the status goes out after I complete that, which is just ongoing. Then I have a to-do then letting me know to fill out my design package template, just because I have something that I build in Canva that I use to be able to provide to my design clients. And then this is just a reminder letting me know I need to upload it. After that, the status changes again, which is letting me know to customize this. I have an approval button going out for this email so that I can be able to tweak it if needed. And this is basically just letting them know that they can be able to look at the design package. And then I have a general feedback form that goes out 7 days later that basically says, how was your experience? And let me just update that. Okay. So now, here's my full service one. So my full service one, you'll notice there's a lot more approvals. And I find that is insanely necessary, especially for full service clients, just because you're typically dealing with renovation. There's not really a template per se that you can really follow for full service, because it can kind of be a little bit all over the place, but I do find it's very easy to build out some sort of workflow in Dubsado and then just have approval buttons. That way you can be able to customize. So you'll see it starts again with an inquiry response, which is very general. This ends up changing. So you'll see in the original workflow that I had, it was design service. This one actually lets me know that it's full service. Then I have my discovery call questionnaire go out. And this one goes out to the client as well. Then I have a to-do that actually tells me to review the questionnaire an hour prior to the appointment. Then over here, let me click that. This one's going to send out my next scheduler, right? And this is going to be for my initial consultation. So I do have an approval button on this because I do want to be able to add some customization to this email and let them know that I actually, heard what they were saying during the discovery call. So I'm able to customize this, and then I go ahead and approve that. Then you'll see here, 1 day prior to my initial consultation, I have my client welcome guide PDF go out. And then I also have another canned email here too, just letting them know I'm so excited to meet with them, and they can be able to review the client welcome guide, but I do also print this out at the actual appointment as well. Then over here, I have another to-do, which is just letting me know I need to customize the scope of work so that I can be able to provide them an LOA. And usually for the LOA, it does take me a few days to be able to put that together, but I do like to at least make a list of all of the things that the client wants right after the appointment. That way I have it fresh in my head. Then you see here, I have my letter of agreement that goes out. I have not a canned email for this one, only because this one's very, very personalized. So that one is just very bare bone. Then I activate my portal. Then once they have paid for the letter of agreement, actually this should actually be after invoice is paid. Okay, so after the invoice is paid, then my client onboarding portal goes out. I get a to-do letting me know I need to open this in ClickUp, which is where I track all of my projects. Then I have a client status update email, and this also has an approval button. So this email I do have go out essentially weekly or bi-weekly, depending on what's going on in the project. So I do like to have a canned email. That way, the first one, after I've started working on their project, I'm just letting them know next steps. But what I end up doing too is just reusing that email more than once. Then I have my presentation meeting scheduler go out. So you'll see I do scheduler, send appointment scheduler, presentation meeting, and then just letting them know, I'm so excited to schedule your presentation meeting. Let's go ahead and review your designs. And then they can go ahead and click that button and schedule that. Then you'll see I have another to-do, which is basically just drafting all of my meeting notes. They typically want some revisions, so I have that, reminding me to make sure that I draft those notes. Then I have another email going out, which is the status update. Then I have another to-do letting me know to create the invoice in QuickBooks for procurement. For procurement, whenever I'm doing any purchasing, because I obviously need to change net price, I do all of that in QuickBooks as opposed to Dubsado. So with Dubsado, I typically take essentially my initial consultation payments, and then anything outside of that I'll just do in QuickBooks. But it's very easy to be able to actually add a link directly in Dubsado that makes it look like it's coming from Dubsado. So I'll show that to you. And then the last step is just letting me know I need to track it in ClickUp. So let me go into a project so that I can show you what I mean in terms of creating customized. So here, I'll actually go into my test project. Okay, so let's say I was sending out an email and I needed a canned email. You see this bookmark right over here? This is where all of your canned emails live. So let's say I was doing a, let's just do the check-in. So let's say I was doing the check-in. This is telling me that I do have a form link here, and you'll see that there's like a button there. So let's pretend I'm just gonna pull this Amazon item. So here, let's say I'm just tweaking this to say, please review this selection. Right, and I wanted to add this item. In this particular case, I'm only doing this if it's, let's say, a QuickBooks invoice. What I go ahead and do is I go right over here to formatting options. I click this button right over here, and you see where it says link or button. I personally like always trying to do a button, only because that's what they're used to, and I think that it looks much better. So I'm just adding something really quick. Pretend it's an invoice. Open a new tab, insert, and then you see right there, it go ahead and creates the button. And then all I do is I just format it so that it's in the center of the email. And that's it. And then from there, you're able to send it. And then what I always like to do is I always like to send it much later. And then if I wanted to, I can customize. Let's say I do 3 hours. Oh my God, where did that email go? It disappeared, right? It didn't actually disappear. It's in the workflow. So if you go into workflow, you'll see that there's a delayed email, right? Whenever I send in my delayed emails, I always do like 3 hours later, and then I come in, and then I can be able to actually go and say what date, what time I want. You can be very exact. Sometimes I don't do it exactly to the hour just because I don't want it to seem automated. So then I'll go ahead, do that, press apply, and then you'll see that time changes. And then that way this email will then go out. Oops. This email will go out at the new time on the new date. So it's very, very easy to do. And yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, there are some other tips and tricks on how to use Dubsado. I really do find it so much easier to just build out a workflow. I mean, as an interior designer, we've seen there's so many different project management programs out there that just don't work. And I find that Dubsado makes it so much easier so that I can be able to, send all of my contracts out, send all of my questionnaires. Like everything here is templated. Why make yourself, drive yourself crazy having to have a contract in a Word document that you're going to have to then go ahead and tweak. If I go into my full service interior design contract, you'll see here like it automatically imports the date as well as the client name. I'm able to tweak the project name. I'm able to, plug in that scope of work as well as all of my payment schedules, things like that. And it just makes it easier. I found that before I was working with Dubsado, I was using so many different so many different programs. Like I was using Calendarly for my discovery calls, and I had to use, Google Forms so that I can be able to send out my questionnaires. And then I needed to create a contract in Adobe. All of this can just get done in Dubsado, and it just makes it so much easier. And then, especially because interior design has so many working pieces, we're tracking packages, we're, looking to make sure that things get invoiced properly, things like that you can be able to track outside. But, if you're trying to automate and streamline your onboarding process as well as your offboarding process, I've tested so many different programs, and I really, really do feel like Dubsado is the best suited, especially for, virtual design, and you can make it work for full service as well. So that's how I use Dubsado as an interior designer. Please let me know if you have any questions. And if you need any help with your Dubsado, you can reach out to me at sashamareinteriors.com. Thank you.